crazy people. I'm going to be reading a portion of my book tonight, round number 8, The Road to Damascus. I continued to go to church there every week. It was like God was speaking directly to my life every week. Little did I know, God actually physically speaks, not just through the Bible or through pastors and pulpits. I have often heard pastors and preachers say, God told me, or God said to me. Sometimes it can be hard to determine between truth and a lie. Test the spirits and taste the fruits they produce. This is the best way to see the truth in the midst of the lie. Read Matthew chapter 7, verse 16 through 20. Christ said, there would be false prophets among us, and that you would recognize them by the fruit they produce. The wolves in sheep's clothing, they know they're wolves, guys. My mother told me I was baptized as a child, but I have no recollection of, of that at all. The longer I kept going back to church, the more I wanted to get baptized. I walked in the first time in August 11th, 2017. And after a few weeks, I told Jonathan Denton I wanted to get baptized. I said, I know I'm still going to drink alcohol, but I want to get baptized. Both pastors preached against drinking and many other things. He responded with, get baptized anyways. So on November 5th, 2017, I was baptized by Jonathan Denton. They said I should come out of the water speaking in tongues and be transformed in a moment. I felt nothing like that, though. But it's God timing, not ours. Even in the middle of my finding my faith again, I didn't make it didn't make all my problems go away. I was still depressed about my friend and other friends that had overdosed or taken their lives. I was super codependent and didn't even know it pretty much until this point. One day after hearing Jonathan Denton preach, he told me, I see that you're putting your happiness in things of this world. Girls, your kids, your friends, instantly. I knew he was right, but I didn't know how to put my happiness in Christ and carry his joy with me. I ended up getting fired from Title Boxing Club. I was devastated. I lost my dream job as a full-time fitness coach. I had worked there over 4 years, and on one Friday evening workout, I was let go. Driving a wrecked car on the west side of Nashville, a pretty nice part of town, an intoxicated lady rolled down her window and told me in a drunken slur, hey, your car's wrecked. I went home and moped around the house for days, feeling like all hope was lost. After days of sitting around and smoking my problems away, ironically, it didn't help at all. I remembered that my church was having a missions conference for 3 days that week. I didn't quite know what that was, but I thought if it could get me out of the house, it could be something positive. I went to the Thursday morning service at 10 a.m. There were multiple speakers. I normally would have been working at Title Boxing Club, but I wasn't, so I was able to go. There were multiple speakers, all talking about their mission missionary work overseas. One story touched my heart in a very special way. A woman spoke about Haiti. Her dad had started an orphanage there many years ago. She described her first visit as a teenager. She expected the place where she could simply love on the kids. Instead, she described the smell and the terrible things going on in that country. She went on to tell a story about a little 5-year old girl who had been raped and died from AIDS. Hearing that broke my heart. My own mother had been taken advantage of at the same age. It hit home. They were asking for money or physical help in Haiti to build a new orphanage. I had nothing to give, but I thought if I could get there somehow, I could help with construction. What he opens, no one can close, and what he closes, no one can open. Revelation 3:7. That night, I went out and met my buddy Mike, a ring announcer, at a bar. A stranger recognized me from a social media fitness post. He offered to buy me a drink. I accepted and started chatting with him. It turns out Greg was a carpenter who owned his own business. I asked if he needed any help, and the very next day, on Good Friday, March 30th, 2018, I started working for him. I couldn't believe it. I started working for a carpenter on Good Friday. Jesus himself was a carpenter. And Good Friday remembers the sacrifice of the perfect lamb when he was crucified. I also got a job with Legion Jiu Jitsu and UFC gym. With some help, I was able to get my passport in time to go to the mission trip in Haiti. I knew Haiti was going to be bad, but I had no idea. The capital city was still in rubble, so much destruction. About 2.5 hour ride, we arrived at the orphanage. It was called Arms of Hope Children's Home, located in Maribolis. They had one small old building in town and were building a new orphanage. For their old orphanage was just one building in town. I worked there for 3 days in the brutal heat up on Goat Mountain. I thought to myself, this must be the place the devil landed. Goat Mountain. I helped with finishing up electrical work and other tasks. Pray for this town. Recently in 2024, gangs took over Maribolis, even with huge walls all around the orphanage. Like a fortress, the gangs took over the orphanage and claimed many innocent lives. The United States has declared the gangs in Haiti a terrorist threat and has started to give the Haitians government aid. After I got back to the States, I was devastated. It was so hard to return to our first world problems after seeing the suffering of an entire country. I wanted to take a kid back with me. I wanted to fix the entire country. But I couldn't barely keep my own bank account in the green. It bothered me so much that I read a few articles on people returning from third world countries. Severe depression is common for this exact reason. I felt. As you see, I still am emotional about it. I should pray for Haiti, guys. Not being able to fix everything. Some people even struggle with suicide after such experiences. I thank God for the eye opening trip. About 7 months later, after a night of drinking and playing pool, I didn't realize I was almost out of gas. Worse, I didn't realize I had gotten on the interstate going east away from Nashville when I should have been heading west when I was out in Lebanon. Next thing I knew, I ran out of gas in what felt like sub-zero temperatures. It was the middle of nowhere and my phone had no service. I thought, what can I do? I had to be at work at 6 a.m. I settled in to get some sleep. Honestly, I needed to sleep off some of the alcohol anyway. A few hours later, I woke up and dug through my back seat. Most of my belongings were in a borrowed Land Rover. I found Arctic Carhartt overalls my mom had bought me for my solar electric job. Perfect for the freezing night. I bundled up and started walking east. Should have been heading west. With no service and no exit in sight, I kept going. After about 25 minutes, I reached an exit, completely abandoned. No gas stations. There were old gas stations there, but they were abandoned. So I crossed the interstate and walked the other direction. Not long after, a sheriff picked me up, gave me a gallon of gas from the gas station, and took me back to my car. But the push to start Land Rover still wouldn't start. The sheriff said he couldn't spend any more time on me, but he dropped me off at a gas station. There, I bought more gas. The teller asked if I had a ride back to my car. I told her no. At that moment, an older woman said, I'll take you. She was from New Mexico. When I asked why she was in Tennessee, she said because God told me to. Amazing. I thought, whoa. She drove me back to my car. This time, the gas worked. You need to edit back in there. Sometimes when you run out of gas in an SUV, you need more than 1 gallon to get it going again. You need 2 to get it working through the system. It skipped down. Bear with me. Bear with me if you're hanging along this time. This long, anyways. Oh, here we go. All right, where are we at? 25 minutes. Woo! Okay. At the gas station. Here we go. She drove me back to my car. This time the gas worked, and she followed me back to the gas station to make sure I didn't run out of gas again. At the gas station, she told me she had a message from God for me. It was so cold, I jumped into her car to listen. She said, God just told me to tell you. He's going to use you to lead hundreds of thousands of people to him. Your message will be that it's not about religion, but about relationship. Some people will turn to him right away, and others will say that I'm crazy. I thought, lady, you must be crazy. You have the wrong guy. I'm not Billy Graham. But she continued to prophesy. I managed to record the floorboard of her car as she spoke. The video lasted 10 minutes, full of prophecy over my life. Then it hit me. A woman I didn't even know had prophesied over me, helping me get gas. God had a plan even in the middle of my sin, out on a blind date. Just as Paul, on the road to Damascus, God met me where I was at, on that frozen road that night. As he traveled and was near Damascus, a light from heaven suddenly flashed around him. Acts 9:3. Your eyes saw me when I was formless. All the days, all my days were written in your book before any one of them, single one of them began. Psalms 139:16. I'm going to share more about the prophecy. There is a link directly in my regular videos if you want to actually go watch the prophecy I was just speaking about. God bless you guys. I love you. Hope you enjoyed. Turn to Jesus. He loves you.